Right, hey guys, welcome to another episode of Full Tilt Esports Psychology. We are going to have a special interview today with Gally Cribs Jr. That's our man off to the side right there. He's a baseball player. We're going to have like a nice, great conversation with him about a lot of the aspects behind, his experiences. First of all, though, welcome. Today is February the 3rd, 2022. We just missed out on our magical 2/2/22 date, right? Mike, we were talking about it yesterday. We were looking. So the Memphis Grizzlies have a player named Desmond Bain.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and he's number 22. Like his jersey's
he's
22.
so troll.
He's second year in the league. Yesterday he put up 22.2% shooting with 2 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks, 2 turnovers, 2 fouls, and all his stats add up to 22. So shout out to Desmond Bain. I don't know, like that's some cosmic luck right there.
I know. I feel like it's impossible to unless he tried. He had to have tried or done something. Bro.
No, he has no idea.
He has no idea. He just randomly
No.
walked into all of it. Well, anyway, so I hope everybody's staying warm during this winter storm that's coming through. We are Texans, so we all have PTSD, right? You don't have to be a psychologist to know what PTSD is if you're from Texas and you were experienced last year when it all froze over, everything like that.
Not fun.
Yeah, right. And then so I know we're gonna be talking a lot about other stuff, but today we wanted to like drop your little psych knowledge bomb today, right? So there's such a thing in medicine in psych. It's called seasonal affective disorder with a convenient acronym of SAD, S-A-D, right? So seasonal affective disorder occurs when there's weather changes, climate changes. You don't get enough sun. It's very very common. So if you feel sad because of sad, that might be a thing. Just get yourself a little bit more extra sunlight, a little bit more light during the day.
Yep.
Be aware.
Be aware of that. Final last note before we get into the shits. We hit 50 subs on YouTube. Thank you so much, everybody. Had a round of applause, everybody. Thank you so much for being there. 29 followers on Twitch. We would love to get our goal to 50. We want to try to hit that sub button, try to get us official, right? Get ourselves recognized out there. Try to get ourselves in that conversation, build that community with everybody. What do y'all think about that?
For sure. Like
Yeah,
we
let's
need to
get it
catch
out
up
there.
to we need to catch up to Gally and
We need to
his
catch up to
50
Gally.
followers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, my big old Twitch.
Woo!
Yeah.
Shout out to Gally Switch. So today, this is our great friend, Gally Cribs Jr. First of all, Mike, are you tilted?
I'm tilted. Gally, are you tilted?
I'm tilted.
Hey, let's go.
Tilted.
He's officially
All
a
right.
friend of the pod now.
Yes. So now, Gally, we want you to give us a little introduction. Let our viewers know who you are, what you're doing.
I am Gally Cribs, as y'all have mentioned. It's an honor to be here. Thanks for having me. First
very
off,
Oh, thank
very
you.
excited about this. I grew up with Mike actually in Sugarland. Went to Dulles High School. Went on and now I play professional baseball. I played with the Arizona Diamondbacks and Miami Marlins so far, and just still trying to make it to the big leagues.
What a boss.
Oh, an athlete, it's kind of hard to keep going, right? Like being a pro athlete, we always want to make it, right?
Yeah.
But before we get into that, how do we know each other? And both of us trying to make it even in high school, it's not too easy too, right? Because
No, not at all.
either you're the one trying to keep people from taking your spot, or you're trying to take someone's spot,
Yeah.
kind of,
Yeah.
right?
You remember CJ last week? So we had a conversation with CJ Love. I'm pretty sure you might know him, right? Is that right, Gally?
Yep.
Yeah. So we had a great conversation with CJ, and CJ was saying you're always running, right? You're either running to catch the person you're trying to reach, or there are people behind you trying to reach you, right? So that I think that's like Mike was talking about that, and that's just how it is in competition. Yeah.
I feel like sometimes, like what he mentioned is, if you're the one trying to reach someone else, they are kind of like your inspiration or one of your motivations to push yourself to be better.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, for sure.
And I don't know. For me, also, if you're the one on top, it's like they are also your motivation
Yeah.
to not let them catch you, right?
Yeah, when you're at the top, it's basically the carrot in front of the horse.
Yeah.
And you're just-
Okay. Yeah.
you're chasing whatever it is that you had planned out for yourself.
True.
For sure. So some more background information about our boy Cali. He was top 45 in the world of Call of Duty at one point. Top 45. Think about that. In the world, that's actually insane. He
That's
could have gone
crazy.
pro, maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe. He's also a big Rainbow Six Siege player, a Halo player. I mean, back in the day, Gally and I know a couple of Halo guys that were kind of built different, you know, but we were both, what is it called? Split screen heroes at one point, right, Gally?
Yeah. The split screen gods.
Yes. Can you tell us some of your experience when you were a split screen god and like how you got into the online gaming, etc.?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously we grew up in a time where the online realm wasn't as accessible as it is now for everyone, you know. It wasn't free for certain platforms and whatnot, but I mean, back then you were just playing with your brothers and friends on the split screen, and whether it be on the N64 or the PlayStations at the beginning or Xbox, I was always PlayStation person, but I remember just the groundbreaking online experience the first time I started playing online, and then just all the years playing split screen, different Madden games and all that kind of stuff. I mean, it gets really competitive. Obviously, everyone knows that. Everyone that did it, at least. I guess the kids nowadays don't really know that at all.
Yeah, some of them don't like, but like in person, like I was telling in our last interview with CJ, dude, we played when we were playing 2K or Madden. He used to get to me a little bit because he would be the shit talker. He would be the shit talker and say stuff to me. But like, you know what? After a while, like I got used to it, and then I would just crush him. Every time he could have that advantage team.
Part of it. Maybe that's part of it. You were talking about the being able to just block out the noise. Like, you had that person next to you doing it in person, and I mean, I had people. Obviously, if you have people talking mess to you right in your face while they're beating you, it's not a fun feeling. It is not a fun feeling.
It is.
And now you just have it over the mic. That's what I mean. The kids nowadays don't understand what it's like to talk that shit and then look right over and that person's right next to you.
Look to your left, they're like next to you.
It is different. We got all these kids or like even some like young adults that like would like they think they're protected because they have the internet wall in a sense, right? And they'll say stuff that they would never say in person, which I mean, you can say do whatever, but I don't condone it necessarily because you know like why would you some of that
like
shit
that's
fake
Twitters. It's the Twitter trolls.
Twitter
like
fingers.
it's all of that. And I mean, that's the crazy part is like I never really had that experience online with like people doing that kind of crazy stuff. To be like it's kind of, I mean, it's RNG. Like it's just life. And like I never really had that. I've never had a crazy moment on the game where people like got to me or made me mad or said something that like ruffled my feathers, you know.
Well, maybe that's because you're like a calm guy and you found your own center and you're just like, you know what, nothing's gonna bother me here.
Yeah, maybe that's part of the mental callousness.
Build those calluses, right? Yeah. What games are you playing these days? What's going on with you? Like, what are you doing?
So I did play. I played New World at the drop of New World. I played Halo.
We lost another good one.
But now it's just Tarkov. Escape from Tarkov is my game. That's my bread and butter.
That's an intense game, man.
Yeah, I really like that game a lot. It's a very hardcore game. It's a simulation shooter, is what Nikita would like to call it.
Yeah,
so
sure.
I'll call it that for him. And it's you're just trying to survive.
Yeah, it tries to focus on like the hyper realism aspects, right? Or like you can
you gotta eat, drink. You got like your medic pack is like you got band-aids.
Yeah, like certain injuries to certain parts of your bodies or whatever.
Yeah,
right? Yeah, that's
intense. It's very interesting.
Do you think some of that, like, take care of the little things in the video game kind of also, or transfer over to, like, your real life stuff? Like, hey, man, I need to kind of drink some water.
You gotta hydrate.
Shout out Gatorade. Listen, Gatorade, if you're listening right now, Gatorade, we need a sponsor, okay? Mr. Galley can hook us up.
Anyone.
We will chill out. Yeah,
any type of electrolyte drink that wants to hook it up.
Brondo. You ever watch Idiocracy? Yo, listen, we will chill out for Brondo right now if that's what it takes.
Hey, I mean, but to be honest, like Tarkov and baseball, right? Like, or like actually if you go pro in like almost anything, to be honest, you got to be kind of intense and very like detail oriented to get to that level in general, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
And I guess, can you see like the similarities or talk about some of the similarities for how like intense Tarkov is in those small details? Just explain to us how you could see esports or like the similarities of traditional sports and esports, basically.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like it's. I'm gonna say onion just because I'm thinking
Onion,
of Shrek,
okay.
and it's
Oh,
like
you're
onion.
Shrek.
There's layers. Yeah,
Okay.
there's layers to it.
Okay.
So, I mean, the casual person is gonna watch. Let's use the NBA. The casual person watches the NBA. Okay.
Okay.
They're watching an NBA game. They see dunks
Oh yeah. Yeah.
and they see alley oops
Mm-hmm.
and they see 3-pointers. That's it.
Right.
That's really
Mhm.
it. Okay.
Yeah.
But then you have the shooting percentages. You have the inside the arc shots. You have all these other things, and it gets, the more you care about it, the more in depth it's gonna be.
Absolutely.
So
True.
like with the video games, like to be good at video games, you have to. I mean, I would say to be a pro at video games, you have to be a mechanical master. You have to know the maps. You have to have map knowledge of everything.
And that's the most basic
have-
level, right?
Yeah, and that's like that's exactly what you're saying. The basic level. That's just like the knowing of the game.
Get in
And then
the
there's
door.
like the action. There's the actual
Yep.
you moving your guy, the mouse, the keyboard.
Mechanical mastery.
Yeah, like that's
Absolutely.
all of that stuff. Like for some people, just looking down at a keyboard is overwhelming. So for them to use one hand and be able to do all these functions with one hand, like that's just too overwhelming for people. And with sports, it's the same way. I mean, like you're like I just said, dunking, alley oops, 3-pointers. Like
Yeah.
no, the basketball is way more than that.
Yeah.
Same with football.
Absolutely.
Football isn't just touchdowns and pick sixes and fumbles and big hits, you know. Same with baseball. It's
Oh,
not
it's
just
not?
home runs and strikeouts.
Oh,
like
it's not?
there's so much, and like with me, like when I'm watching baseball, there's a huge game within the game that
Yeah.
I'm paying attention to that people don't really know about. It's the thing that the Astros got famous for, you know, the quote unquote cheating. So
Mm.
and
Quote,
I'm not
unquote.
gonna go there with anything
Allegedly.
at all, but
Okay.
there's a lot of there's stuff that goes into it, and
Mhm.
and with video games, there's stuff that goes into that. There's a lot that goes into it. There's preparation. There's I
Yeah.
mean, you're trying to read other players like a book.
Scouting
and,
reports.
Scouting
like,
reports,
You're trying to know their tendencies
Yeah.
and what they like. That like most. I would say the thing about Tarkov is it's an open map.
Okay.
Most first-person shooter games that are like highly competitive,
Yes.
they're tunnels. You
Yeah,
have 3
exactly.
lanes.
That's
and-
true. That's
and
true.
you're
Yeah.
just trying to figure out like, okay, they can go this way, so we need to hold off this choke point, and they can go this. And it's. I'm not saying it's dumbed down, but it's a lot more like
It's very
fine.
limited in scope.
Like
Yeah,
like
exactly.
you're going to an angle and you're holding that angle
Yes.
for the life of you,
Yes.
and that's it. And like your team is expecting you to hold that angle, and then if you don't, then yeah, they're able to push that lane. But like in a game like Tarkov, like there's people 360 degrees all the way around you, and
That's so
they
scary.
they can be anywhere. They can be in a building looking out of a window and you're dead. They can be
Yeah.
laying down in a dark corner that you don't see and you're dead. It's just there's so many different variants, and it's not the traditional game because you can play that game however you want. There's people that don't shoot the gun in the game. There's people that only do scav runs, which is like
yeah.
you're a little zombie boy with no gear, and like
You run out there
there's
naked,
just-
right? Trying
yeah,
to like,
like you, yeah. There's just so many different ways to play that game.
yeah.
And I think that's why I enjoy it, is just the complexity to it. Like it
Yeah,
is a
no,
very
yeah.
hard game to be good at, and it is a very hard game to succeed in, for sure.
A little bit of a
You're
sandbox, right? Right? Like you just
Yeah.
go out there and like you do what you will with it, right? Like they
Yeah.
give you the tools, they give you whatever, and
Yeah,
you go
and
do
there's
it.
there's exactly, you can play the game as that, or like there's a hideout that you can upgrade and get into and make money for yourself.
That's
There's all kind. There's a Bitcoin farm you can get to. There's a
Bitcoin
moonshine,
farm.
like moonshine thing you can get to. Like it's like it's basically an apocalyptic world. So you're trying to
Okay.
make money like off
Yo.
of anything you can.
That's fair.
Look, art
That's
imitates
interesting.
life. We're in an apocalypse right now. I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a pandemic going on right now. So
Yeah, that's
everybody
for
get
sure.
your go outside naked and grab your GPUs and graphics card and go mine some Bitcoin because that's the only
Yeah.
way we'll survive this pandemic. All right.
Yo, Gally, you were mentioning like the layers, right? For baseball and in the video games, right? I was like thinking like there's basically strategies, the intangibles, the nuances of like who's setting up which mind game. Like how like, oh, I've been throwing this out. How am I going to change it? Whether it be
Yeah.
in the video game or in baseball, right?
with the switch
like
up.
if you're a pitcher, it's like I've been throwing these for a while, but this is this guy's weakness.
Yeah.
What's the thought now, right? And in like video games, also like you mentioned, like for the Astros at least the scandal, right? I mean, there's been teams I think in CS:GO and like other things or like League, like people are hiding in like something that a crowd, like someone in the game should not be able to know, right? But
Yeah.
somehow they know, right?
Yeah,
and they
they're
just
knowers.
they
They're
just
just
like
knowers.
blind do something.
Knowers.
But you know what? Like there's been proof on some of these games. Oh, some of them is like straight up they like just know because that's game sense, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But there are also some people like crowd members are like holding a board with like he's here.
Yeah.
But, you know, like how do you fix that or how do you
Oh,
like
yeah, I mean-
get that situation better?
Well, there was apparently there were some tweets that went out about some players in the past doing something similar to that, which like that's kind of out of sight, out of mind for me. Like just I would never think of doing something like that
Yeah.
to get an upper hand on someone. But allegedly, a player had his best friend sit out in center field with binoculars, and he would look at the catcher's sign, and he would wave a
Oh
white
my
shirt over his
God.
head if it was a certain pitch.
Wow.
So this player had his friend that would come with him every game and
Wow.
sit in center field and relay him the signs. And he
Wow.
knew right where he was sitting. And this is just one player doing this specifically for himself, not a team thing.
Right.
So like
Oh, it's not even that coordinated, right? Yeah.
there's always going to be people trying to get an upper hand, and
Right.
I mean in the esport world it's very limited to like hacks or like aimbots and like third party software that's going to
Yeah. Yes.
benefit you, which is very seekable. Like it's very like people can notice that pretty quick. But
Yeah.
in sports, you see someone take off, the last thing you're gonna ever suspect is, oh, they got somebody helping them.
Yeah, with like
they're-
binoculars.
yeah, they have someone like really helping them right
Baseball is
You just think
wild.
they're good. Yeah.
Baseball's wild.
Hey man, I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of sports that are kind of wild like
That's
that.
true.
But baseball, well, I guess because baseball's a little bit slower that you can do some of those things. Because I was thinking like I was trying to think in football or basketball, could you do that? But I think sometimes things
Well,
are
in
going
football, you
too
have
quick,
the
bro.
New England Patriots doing
Oh,
Deflategate.
the ball and
Yeah.
deflate thing. Yeah.
congrats Tom Brady on your retirement.
I was gonna
No,
say the
yeah.
exact
I
same
mean, talk bad about you as soon as you retire because I love you. But I mean, think about how many scandals the Patriots went through while Tom Brady was at the helm of quarterback.
It's true. And like,
there was Deflategate. There was them filming people on the sidelines all the time. There's all of these things, and what it boils down to is them just trying to get an upper hand.
Isn't it? Wasn't it like the oh my headset isn't working or like the opponent's headsets wouldn't work in whatever stadium, other stadiums or something like that.
See, and that's like,
You can't even
I mean,
play call.
that could be like some type of Call of Duty type thing, like what are they
oh,
called?
like lands or lag
scatter.
switches,
Yeah, like some
or
type of scatter. And I mean, who knows what teams are doing, man? Like these
You're-
NFL,
you're
like
right.
you have the Green Bay Packers that have like a whole heating system under the field, so it melts the ice off the field. Like these
Wow.
are like extremely
Sophisticated.
sophisticated entities and like organizations that they're all trying to win the championship.
True.
And
that's true.
like what are you going to tell people with all these millions of dollars, like, and all these fine prints of rules? Like they're going to find loopholes. People
Yeah.
find
Yeah.
loopholes in everything. So
Dishonorable.
it's just-
What do you
yeah.
think? like I think all three of us here are kind of similar in that we don't think about that thought, but I did
Because we wouldn't do it, right? Like, because we wouldn't do
Yeah,
it.
I don't ever think about trying to get an advantage on the person next to me and
I
just
know.
stepping on them.
Yeah, true.
to move
Like
up myself, I've never
Yeah.
been that way. I
that
would
crazy?
rather
Yeah.
I would rather get down on my knee and let you step on me before I try to do that. Like,
I don't know about all that, but
I
I,
don't-
want
I
to
don't
win.
like that.
I want
I
to
don't-
win
yeah.
at a fair game. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, that's what I mean. I'd rather just
Yeah.
bend the knee and just say, if you're gonna do all that, just walk in front of me now. Like, you don't need to do it behind.
So,
like,
Gally,
I'll let you do it.
we're gonna
True,
schedule you
true,
for your
true.
PEDs soon. We're gonna get you some performance enhancements.
Sheesh.
Sheesh.
This man
But,
said
yeah.
no.
What I was gonna say was like there was an anime I was watching, and they said if you aren't like cheating in a sense, like don't complain about it because like we're trying to it's hard to cheat also without getting caught, right? That's what
Oh
the
my
dude
God.
said. No, okay, so it was
Yeah.
it was a volleyball situation. I don't know how much you know about volleyball, but basically a dude covered the ref from seeing, right? The ball was gonna
Okay.
float out, right?
Yeah.
And then another dude dived and just called out. They just yelled out, right?
Yeah.
And so the sideline line judge couldn't see, so he just said what they said, right? Because they've been
Yeah.
acting nice the whole
Well, dude,
time.
that's
Ooh,
that's
playing the
psychology
refs.
though. That's psychology
Playing the-
because
Yeah,
you have
Yeah,
to realize
that's what I'm
like,
saying.
there's so I'll put it to you this way in baseball. There's the first base dugout and the third base dugout.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
There are teams out there that
Mhm.
when they're on the first base dugout and there's a close play at first, everyone in the dugout does the safe signal and they all yell safe.
Yeah.
Well, they're
Okay.
right in front of that first base umpire.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
he sees all of that and hears all of
Influences
that.
them,
So just like
Uh-huh.
you said, yeah, he goes safe. He's safe.
Oh, so he could
And
get
that's
oh,
part
yeah.
that's part of what you're talking about of like
Mhm.
dive in front of the ref and say out. Well, they do that. I promise you in football they do that at the
Yeah,
sideline in the
for
ref
sure.
ears. Like
Yeah, they're
everyone-
always like, it was out of
you're
bounds,
always
it's out of
trying
bounds.
to subconsciously like
Move the
I'm
chains.
gonna
Protect
get
the
you.
ref,
Yeah,
yeah.
you're human. I'm gonna get you. We're gonna get
Yeah.
you. Our whole team is right next to you, so
Yeah.
we're gonna team up and try to benefit our team and,
Oh, yeah, of
and
course.
work
Mhm.
one over you. So
That's interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Really good point.
That's like we could talk all day about like your experiences in
Yeah, it's
baseball. Isn't that
true.
crazy?
It's true.
It's so much information. Like it's like a world that a lot of people, I mean, including myself, right? We just have an experience we don't really know a lot about, and it's like really cool to see any of the parallels that you have already drawn. So like that's why we love to pick your brain about all this. So in baseball, like what position do you play? What do you play?
I play shortstop,
Shortstop?
by trade.
Athlete.
Crucial
I've ended up
individual.
playing everywhere.
Yeah,
I
okay.
ended up even pitching at some point.
Mm.
I mean, it's been crazy. Yeah, just kind of an athlete can
Yeah,
put
you
a
just adapt and
put whatever glove on me, and I'll go try my best.
do whatever you need to do, man. Yeah.
Hmm.
And so I have a question for you also. Have you gone overseas or like considered going overseas before? Is there other markets for you out there?
So overseas, there are teams and stuff in Europe. There's some teams in Australia. They do a lot of winter leagues, like which is like right around now. They do some stuff in the Dominican, like Puerto Rico, Venezuela.
Cool.
I have never done it personally, no, but yes, there are a lot of people that go and do that kind of thing, make
Okay.
extra money, like get reps in, all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And
That's kinda
it's really good opportunities too. It's a lot of fun to do that.
Mhm.
I was interested in just.
But you're giving your body that rest and do some maintenance on
yeah.
your mind, etc.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
We can say that.
Okay.
I do.
Okay. But also, I think we have have an easy question to say. Why are minor league teams like mascots or their names always so like
They're really goofy.
goofy or
I don't
silly?
know.
You know
I don't
what
know.
I'm saying?
I couldn't tell you. Like, I played the Huntsville Trash Pandas last year.
Trash pandas.
That was fun.
No
I mean, there's the shirt I have on.
Yeah.
Shout out to Hillsboro Hops. This is the first team
the
I played
Hops.
for.
Oh, Hobbs.
Yeah, it's a
That's
hop
kinda
from.
cool.
That is
We
actually
were
really cool.
right outside of Portland, which microbreweries are really big up there.
Oh,
so you
okay,
have the
okay.
hop for a beer.
That's hilarious. Yeah, because I was,
it's always something kind of like that though.
Yeah,
like
right?
how Sugarland was the Skeeters.
Yeah, the Sugarland
and
Skeeters.
the
We're like, what the
Mosquitoes,
fuck is this?
and now they're the Space Cowboys. So it's
Are we
always
really-
something like a play on like the area to like
Yeah,
kind of give
like
the
make it
area
hyper local, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, the only reason we were gonna ask that is because I have been looking just to find out a little bit more about you. I looked up like your profile on MILB, and it was like you played for like the Wahoos and the Jumbo Shrimp. You guys played against the Trash Pandas. There's Hops over here. I'm like, what's going on here? What are the minor leagues doing with their team?
They're all just kind of like funny names. They're all like that.
Awesome. I kind of like it. It's like two different things. It's like marketing. Mm-hmm. You're marketing the area, right? But also because it's like not your main team. It's like kind of like just have fun with it in a sense.
I mean, like we are like the children of the organization. So it's not like, I mean, do some people get? I don't know if it affects some people. I mean, I think it's funny. Like they do promotional nights too, where we put on crazy uniforms and stuff like that. Like, I mean, last year they had we wore these Crabzilla uniforms, and they literally had like crabs on our butts. So like it was like deemed like the worst uniforms ever worn, and we wore those last year. So there's always something crazy going on, or like
you have to send us a picture of
something
that.
in the mix.
Yes,
well, there was a story in there's a story in the big leagues. A pitcher named Chris Sale, like they were supposed to wear jerseys one time, and he didn't like them, and you can't just say you're not going to wear it, You have so he decided to just cut them all up with scissors, and they didn't have to wear them. So he got his way.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean, probably got hit with some fines, but he
just
got
like
his
if you
way.
don't want to play that night, you just turn the sprinklers on a little bit longer in the fields too.
I did not hear about that. I did not know that.
I didn't hear about it either. I didn't know that.
Interesting. We're always learning something, right?
Some life hacks, right?
Yeah.
So I guess one of the questions I wanted to ask you about, like, in your baseball experience, and because we had a conversation previously about competition, right? I kind of wanted to ask you, how do you stand out in such a talented crowd? Maybe like I don't know if you want to talk about your personal experience on like how you kind of broke out or like got noticed. How did that happen?
I mean, in high school, pretty much all of life up until high school, I was always like the smallest player, like not necessarily like the last pick guy, but like I was always the smallest guy.
Athlete despite his height.
Yeah, just kind of always like giving my best effort. Like I always, if I wanted to get picked or get chosen, like go into Lifetime and running basketball games, like you go to a public place and people see a little kid like me, they're not gonna pick me, man. Like it's just not gonna happen. No one's gonna say, yeah, come play with us. So I mean, I would get picked up every now and then, but it was just for my effort, or they felt bad for me. I don't know.
No.
And then,
I feel like if they know you though.
Yeah, some people knew me and knew I could play a little bit, but then I went off to college and I just got an opportunity to go play summer ball. And it just always seemed like it was an effort thing, to be honest. Like it always seemed like I was trying a little bit harder and always like diving around and going crazy and just getting dirty and stuff like that.
Selling out, putting it all out, all on the line.
Yeah,
right?
putting my body on the line a lot of the time, realistically, and that's just kind of how it happened. Like, I mean, there's a coach I had actually that talked about with baseball, like the hustle factor, like how people like say that about a guy, like, oh, this guy plays hard, or this guy's like a grimy like dirt bag, whatever you want to say.
A trash panda, maybe.
Yeah. Like the only way you can do that in baseball is base running and defense. Yeah. Like you can't swing the bat and then be like, oh, he hustles. Like you can't hit home runs and be like, wow, he hustles really hard jogging around the bases. So you have these little spurts of like moments that you have to try hard in baseball. That's it.
I see.
There's like
how you demonstrate that in baseball.
Yeah, like base running. Like say the guys that run to first. There's some people that don't run hard to first, and it drives people up the wall. Yeah. Well, that's a good first base time. Like should be like, and not even I wouldn't say good. An acceptable time is like under 5 seconds.
Sure. And
so like let's say you get 4 at bats. That's 20 seconds a baseball game that you have to sprint hard.
Oh wow.
So that's just on the offensive side. So I mean, that's why there's some weird injuries in baseball, is because it is so like you're chill, 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 and then you just have to like ramp up.
Yeah.
And if you don't treat your body right and you're not used to ramping up, then yeah, you probably will get hurt.
Yeah,
And
well.
I think that's one way, like, just if you stay kind of ramped up all the time, not like go 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 like crazy person, but
Yeah.
if you treat your body and like you're always going from 0 to 100, 0
Right.
to 100,
Right.
and not ever kind of coasting, you kind of avoid that stuff and you stick out a little bit more. Like I said, like people do look at you as that kind of guy, like,
Yeah.
oh, he hustles, oh, he tries hard,
Yeah, there's
he
like
cares,
multiple benefits for doing that, right?
yeah,
Like, you're
yeah,
always
there's,
ready.
There's
yeah.
a lot of benefits to doing that. There's a lot of like personal benefits to doing it. I mean, you put
True.
pressure on people when you're running fast.
True.
Bottom line, like
Yeah.
you speed up the game for
Full
them.
stop,
So
right? Yeah.
that's
True.
all part of like. I think that's kind of how it happened, Mike. Like you asked. I mean, my defense has always been really good as well,
There you
and my hitting is not good, but my defense has always been really good. So that has always kind of kept me around.
So know your strengths and
Yeah.
then be good at your strength, obviously.
Yeah.
But knowing you, if I had to guess, you definitely are always working at your weaknesses, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I always appreciate that because like myself back in the day, I played basketball too. It's not main sport, right? Only because I also didn't grow as tall as you or anything. So I grew to this height in middle school and never got taller. So,
Yeah. You were big, bro. You were a big football player.
dude, I had to just be hustle, athleticism, and then after the ACL surgery, be a lot smarter. And
Yeah.
I'm sure, like, for you in baseball, right? We mentioned, like, the mind game part, the mental, like, the nuances, right? Picking up on those and being intuitive about what people want to do, what their team might be thinking, etc., is it starts to you may not be at the top, but that's what's going to help you get to the top.
Yeah. Oh
right?
yeah. I mean, what you can like, I mean, the mental drain, essentially. Like if you're not training yourself to be able to like take in a lot mentally, then you're gonna get mentally drained really quick. So I think that's part of it, and like the knowledge that you get in all these like scouting reports and different things. Like if you're not like basically mentally capable, like you don't have the mental capacity for that, like it's gonna overwhelm you like tenfold. And I mean, that's one thing that happens. Like the game does get faster and faster. Like as slow as baseball seems, it gets very fast at the higher levels. Like the
course,
things that
yeah.
happen are very quick.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that like it gets too fast for people sometimes. And that's the bottom line. Like you have guys now that are all throwing 100
Right.
and that's really fast. Like in the 90s that was not happening. That it just wasn't. And now you have all of these people specializing and doing these trainings year round and doing all of these things. Well, now throwing 100 is almost, I'm not going to say normal, but it's almost becoming normal. Like you have multiple guys on other staffs that have arms that can get up to that high now.
The cannon arms.
So like yeah, and it's just one of those things you just have to get used to or you're going to get left behind.
And even like for me, how I put it in perspective, what you said, to make like a double play or whatever, right? You had to have pre-situational awareness. Like
Yeah.
before they even hit the ball, you have to kind of know like, okay, so this is where this guy's on base or whatever.
Yeah.
So if ball does come to me, I hit like I need a good ball here, right?
Yeah,
And because
so that's one thing that like you're doing all of those types of things
Processing,
like
right?
pre-pitch. Yeah, you're like
Processing.
that's what the good players are doing at
Yes.
least, I would say. Like good players, the guys that you see like nothing ever surprises them, they're never out of place. They've probably run through a lot of situations in their head. If not, it's probably just second nature already and just like it's just natural to them.
Right. You
So
say
now-
almost like a chess
Instinct,
player, right?
Instincts. I was trying to say instinct.
Instinct.
Yeah.
It's
and
just
being
instinct.
intuitive.
Like you do it so many times, then it becomes instinct at some point
Intuitive,
too.
right?
So
Like,
you
yes.
you don't have to necessarily think all the time, like you're saying, Mike,
Right.
on like double plays, but like,
Right.
I mean, you're paying attention to what pitch is being thrown, the location.
Right.
You're thinking about whether or not your pitcher himself has been hitting his spots that night. If you can even trust that kind of stuff. I mean, it's a lot of
It's a lot.
information
It
you're
is a
picking
lot.
up on,
It's a
and
lot.
then I mean, you're thinking about whether or not the guy at first is fast enough to get on you and spike you, or if the guy at home is fast, if you can take your time on the double play. Um,
Okay.
there's a lot of things that like you're kind of subconsciously going through and checking off
No, absolutely.
before one pitch is even thrown,
Right.
and then that pitch is thrown and you start over.
Yeah, 'cause
you
things
go
have changed. The situation changed, right?
Exactly, completely. A 1-0 count, a 0-1 count is a completely different ball game.
Yeah, wow, that's pretty amazing. So what we've learned already right here, like how do you stand out, right? And like what do you need to be aware of, right? You have to be physically ready, physically prepared, right? Like that's like something you don't want to just be like 0 to 100 all the time or whatever, or be at 100 all the time or 0 out all the time. Another thing,
Yeah.
mentally prepared, right? Like you have to like know the situation, be situationally aware, right? Know what's going on at any given time, right? You have to be sharp, right? Sharp mind, sharp body, both in any given sport, in any given competition, right? Faster you get, the higher level you get, everything just happens faster, right? So that makes a lot of sense. And, I would say that it just doesn't just apply to traditional sports, but of course, like we've been talking about for esports too. So tying it all
For
together.
sure.
Here. Yeah. My man's like,
Yeah, I'm really happy y'all had me on because that's one thing that's crazy to me is like the similarities in the gaming and in the real sports because like the one crazy part is I mean I've personally watched some events on LAN and stuff like that, so it's familiar to me, but for a lot of people it's unfamiliar.
Yeah.
And I mean it's crazy that these kids are professionals. One, they're professional gamers.
Yes.
That's mind-boggling.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
the first off like topic. Like people that I mean, you tell your parents right now, like your dream is to be a pro gamer. They're gonna laugh at you. They're going to
That
laugh
is
at
true.
you. I mean, even me, I tell people I want to be a big leaguer. There's plenty of people that laugh. Well, that's a realm in the esport world that like these kids are not really allowed to say
Trailblazing,
that.
right?
No parent is gonna say, okay, fine. You can come home every day, go sit in your room for 8 hours, close the door, game and like get good and yes,
Poop
be a pro
bucket.
gamer.
Poop
Yeah,
bucket Gelly.
good luck. Like I'm gonna help you. And that is what's crazy is it's a real thing. It's there.
Yeah.
Like, there are people making lots of money playing video games.
Yeah.
And the thing for me that's really crazy is like we're all in the confines of our homes, comfortable setting. It's nice in here, it's warm in here, it's cold outside.
Hella cold.
Luckily,
Yeah.
esports isn't outdoor events. That would be interesting if they did that. But those kids go from inside at their house
Yes.
using their whole setup, comfortable, and then they go on this stage and I'm not trying to be mean, but some of these kids have no social experience at all.
Yeah.
And
That's true.
all
Some
of a
of them
sudden
don't.
they're in front of a lot of people. And I mean, I'm sure I've never really looked into it, but I'm sure there's been some like LAN meltdowns with people
I'm
just
sure,
not
yeah.
being
Oh,
able
yeah.
to play and they crab up or
Yes.
turtle up because there's people watching now. There's real eyes on you. And even Twitch doesn't like
Prepare
compare
you.
to
Yeah,
that,
it
like 'cause
doesn't.
it's
It
just
doesn't.
a chat. You're looking over and you see a chat rolling if you're a big streamer, but like that's it for you. And it's nutty. I mean, these kids are not prepared. There's
Yeah.
no way they're prepared.
Yeah,
The ones that are
right.
that are good that go out there and perform, I wouldn't even say they're prepared. They're just doing it. They're just
Right.
capable of doing it.
Right.
And
Built diff.
I think there should be some type of preparation.
Yeah.
Some type of coach for them. I know they have coaches right behind them with help, but like some
That's not
type
the
of
thing.
like mental or preparing them
Right.
for
Yeah.
getting into
Oh.
that kind of stuff and
You're
not
absolutely correct. Yeah.
like to prevent that crabbing up on stage and,
Yeah.
and any type of social anxieties or anything like that. Like that shouldn't really happen to people at all ever.
Yeah, just to get them experience or whatever, right? Like we talked with CJ last episode, like what if, like let's say middle school or high school, they at least start having a system where people could actually like have a team.
Like
so
a
then,
support
if you do
system
make the team
practice.
or team, right, you get a team, you can talk, etc.
Yep.
You're playing with people that also like the game to a degree that much, but you also have that coach that you mentioned. Like obviously, like for us, our baseball coaches and football coaches, etc. in high school weren't like the craziest or whatever, but they were a starting point.
Yeah.
Of like
I
teaching.
gotta stop you there because Coach Welch was amazing.
Okay.
Coach Welch was one of To be honest, Coach Welch was still to this day one of my best coaches I've ever had
Yeah.
in baseball.
See,
I was lucky.
well, I know Mr. Welch too.
Yeah.
I love that guy. He was
Yeah,
my coach. But
extremely
I
lucky.
just had to say in general, like not all
Yes,
coaches.
no, yeah.
You know,
In high school, you're not like no one expects that to be the case. I
Yeah.
would say that what I got with baseball at Dulles was not the norm, like for sure.
and to be honest, at Dulles, also my football coaches, there were some that like I liked a lot, but then there were some that are like, you know,
Yes,
they're
of course.
whatever, right?
They don't.
But
Yes.
yeah, but like I was saying, like once they have at least that taste of like learning good fundamentals, good intentions, how to like the social aspect and
Yeah.
the soft skills, basically.
Yeah.
Well, with
there we go.
esports too, I find interesting is like a coach is usually something to like lean on or fall back on if anything comes about, and I feel like those kids don't look at the coaches in esports that way.
Yeah.
It's usually like a friend or a player that like is like a stand. I don't
Right.
really know specific. I don't want to talk on it and like say something wrong, but like
I think you're
I don't
right,
know
though.
what the coaches in esports are.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're just someone that can stand in or
Yeah,
like
they-
step in and play,
yeah,
or
right.
if it's someone that's on the fringe of being on the team,
Or like a figure
like
for
what it
support,
really
right?
is.
Like a-
Yeah,
like a
but
real true
it
figure
should-
that can
yeah,
be-
you should have a real like you should have a coach
Yeah.
if you're gonna have a coach,
feel
not
that.
not a peer.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a really good way to put that. Yeah, and,
I think it.
yeah.
Go
What's
ahead,
up?
Adu.
No, yeah, no,
No,
but
go
you're absolutely right because like these people, like you know, like as when we're reaching a point where esports is becoming more accepted, like you know, they're just kids, right? They are just kids. They don't have that experience. They've never done it before, right? Like,
Yeah.
but even like in traditional sports, like you go into other opponents' gyms and you go play in front of people, right? Like that's that's a real thing. So like you know these days, and then back in our day, back when we were boomers, right? Like you know if we were playing LAN, right? Do it at LAN, right? Like that's what they say these days, right? Like do it at LAN because like you know people are online right now, but like if you go to like a real event, if you're like super talented, maybe like you know these things can't be they won't shine through in person per se. So you know these kind of situations are pretty interesting in terms of like how they translate into esports, right? Or like what we can do.
Yeah,
as,
no, it's
yeah, to
it's very
support them.
wild and it's all
Yeah.
new. That's what's cool.
Yeah, it's
it is
brand new, right?
it is new. So I mean, there is you see some stuff on ESPN every now and then,
Okay.
but it's
Yeah.
it's a thing that like we don't really know about yet.
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
lot of people. I mean, the people that are there know a taste of it, you know, but they don't. It's still not been like around for 50 years yet.
Right.
Yeah, it's
where,
not
like,
established, right?
There's
Yeah.
like there's your legends of gaming.
So that's what I was gonna also say too. Like I think there's, well, first, 2 points I was gonna mention was, like you know how there's a minor league and everything, and or like a G League for basketball,
Yeah.
basically a developmental league,
Yeah.
right?
farming
But you
up league or
have,
whatever,
yeah, like at least in NA, like there it's not as structured, I guess, or like it maybe has a structure, but it's not well developed.
Yeah.
Unlike the MLB or the NFL, NBA, etc. Right?
Yeah.
So that's one point I wanted to mention. But then the other point is like, I lost it, but we could just talk about that
Probably-
for now. Maybe I'll remember.
Yeah, no. So
it.
like, I guess because like we understand that you have experience in like minor league baseball and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And trying to make it into the big leagues and stuff. I guess one of the things that I wanted to ask too, and maybe Mike does too, is like what like if there is a minor league system that like a farm up system, what kind of lessons could esports learn from
Yes.
like a farming system in like a minor league system or whatever
you, Adu.
from traditional sports? Like what can we do?
I mean, I would say, it would have to be something that
Like scouting, talent
so
acquisition,
I think someone would. I think there has to be like owners involved.
Yeah.
I think there has to be
some level of
there has
investment,
to be,
right?
Yeah, exactly. There has to be a form of investment because
Okay.
if you want to bring people in to develop, you're spending money on that.
Yes.
Like you have to pay those people to come develop. I guess I'm
Gotcha.
saying.
Yeah, that
and
makes
it would
sense.
have to take someone that wants to develop gamers.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Like it would have to take someone to say this. I guess it would have to be a money thing. To be completely honest,
So,
I don't
okay.
think organically it would ever happen. I think it would have to be someone saying
Right.
that like esports is the next big thing. I can make money off of it. I'm going to develop this system. And that's
Gotcha.
what it would have to be. It would have to be someone deciding to do that themselves. And I don't think it'll ever come about unless like a FaZe Clan or Cloud9 or something like
Sure.
that. TSM, one of those organizations
Big
can
orgs.
definitely do it. Like
Like a
they
big
could
org, yeah.
they
See,
could
that's
have
actually
some little
impressive.
kids that they've scouted and all it takes for that is Twitch. I mean, they could find some people on Twitch,
Dude, yeah.
invite them out, or say something to them, put them on contract, and
Mhm.
then you're a minor league gamer. Like,
Yeah.
that's how it would go, and
be pretty
you would
badass.
pay them, like require them create this amount of content, whatever,
Yes.
and then boom boom bang, you have your minor league system.
Right.
The only thing, I mean, I just don't see the upside in it. I don't
I see.
see, if you were to sign some kid to be a minor league gamer, then there's a lot that can happen. I mean, like there's like, do you, because in baseball you can get released at any moment. Are you able to do that in esports? Or, you know, like there's a lot of different things that go into it with the development of the system, and then the people in it, and the moving up and down. That
Right.
also creates the major league gaming level of like, those guys would instantly be like, okay, there's a lot of movement. So you're
Yeah.
taking guys off that roster and putting them in the minors and then pulling
Right.
someone up. Then that becomes a whole transactional thing with the gaming world too.
I see. So, like, there's
I
like,
don't,
a lot behind
yeah,
it. Yeah.
I just think the only reason that would never come about is because like the minor league system is in place organically. Like you have your Twitch people that blow up in YouTube, and then teams, they start catching weight on Reddit, whatever it is, and then a team hears about them, and that's that. You know,
Try 'em out usually
Yeah,
or something
like,
like
yeah.
that, right? Okay.
So there's really, I don't think there's a need for it personally, just because. In how long is the average gaming career?
See, I
That's
don't know.
a great
If you're
question.
if you're average Joe,
Yeah.
well, average Joe of pros, okay, that's a little different.
Yeah.
I don't know that like they could get lucky, like maybe like 4 to 5 years. I feel like 'cause
Yeah,
then you
so
start
that's
dropping
what
off.
it's. You have a minor league system, and the career length is already so short. What's the
Right.
point in paying somebody before they get there?
Yes, I see.
True.
You know.
But
That's
okay,
good
so
thought,
I'm gonna throw this out because I lived in Korea and I had some of my own students. One of them was recruited early to go into an academy for Genji. It's a Korean team
Yeah.
or organization, right?
For League of Legends, or
Yeah, for League of Legends. And I mean, I played with him too. Like he carried me
Yeah.
in Korea.
Yeah.
And if you follow League of Legends, like there's some.
I
Like,
know
really good
about it.
Koreans.
I do not follow it. I've seen, obviously, I told you about, I've watched some LAN stuff. League of Legends is obviously huge on LAN, and there's a lot
Yeah.
of like fails and highlights and
Yeah.
stuff like that of League of Legends on it. But
Yeah.
I've never personally played it or anything like that.
then
That's fine.
you've avoided toxicity in your life.
Yes,
my friend.
that's good.
Not really. And I
Not
think that's
really.
every game, bro. I think
Fair enough.
you're gonna find it in just about
Fair
any
enough.
game.
It's true.
I mean,
But-
get on Twitter. You can find it there too.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's the
But-
internet.
For them, when they recruited him, like that's how they started already filtering,
Yeah.
in a sense, like the talent pool. Like who can you get? Because then, like as you see, when they get to the real teams, like their communication is usually better, at least among their team
Yeah.
members,
Oh,
is
yeah.
better. They're used to playing on stage, blah blah blah, and like that's why different countries are always trying to recruit Korean players to play
Yeah.
for them because they're the most trained in a sense.
ready.
Yeah,
They're battle hardened. They're
built
ready.
different.
Yeah, they're
They're built
built.
Yeah,
different.
yeah, actually built different.
Yeah.
Raised
They-
different.
yeah.
built
Yeah, they
different,
get
then
to
raised
go
different.
in.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, they're going in
Makes
and
sense.
preparing in a environment somewhere. And like I said, that's what the I guess the NA guys, like, you're just kind of in your room and then you're on the stage.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. And then I guess you mentioned like how coaches sometimes aren't seen as like someone like different or special. I guess like they're more like a peer. I guess like you also mentioned like gaming doesn't have even legends of like 50 years ago like he's that crazy, right? But see, that's exactly why also I think coaches aren't always like there completely too, because the game is always evolving in a
Yeah.
sense, and some of these coaches they haven't even figured out the game
yeah.
to that degree.
Well, that's what
right?
I mean. You would just that's the one thing is like you're not gonna have a 60-year-old coach standing behind these kids that understands the game,
True.
unless, I mean, you do have some older people that play video games like that, but that's what I mean is it's just kind of like, I get why it's a young person behind them, because a young person understands what's going on and probably plays the game a lot too. But that's, I mean, as a coach, like that's what you want. You just want someone that knows the game, has knowledge about it, maybe has a few tricks up their sleeve, but like that's really it. Like it's not anything more than that. And I'm not saying those coaches are unqualified. Like those coaches is probably are perfectly fine. It's just a point of curiosity to like wonder what if these guys had a coach to look up to that was like older and been around a little bit longer, like can give you some life lessons too, you know, like because
True.
that's kind of what they are. They become a mentor to you a little bit while you're with them.
That's a really good perspective. I really appreciate that. Thank you for that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense,
Sure.
right? So I guess that's what we can maybe take away from that sense, right? Again, that sense of like development and how, you know, maybe one day the esports can have like maybe a more streamlined track into like
Yeah,
just
that would
instead
be
of just
cool.
going straight to pro, right? Like it feels like that probably is kind of what's going
Yeah,
on right
no,
now.
because like exactly for
Yeah.
me, like that's obviously I play games and gaming is a hobby of mine. Like that kind of stuff would be really cool to me personally to like see it becoming something, and obviously it's becoming something right in front of our eyes in our
Yeah.
generation. So
So we're gonna have a
see
university
it
for
go big would
esports.
be cool.
We're gonna open up a university. You could be our first professor and coach. All right, how about
Yeah,
that?
dude.
Yes,
The
yes,
Galley
Let's do
Cribs
it. I am
Junior
down.
School of
I am
Esports,
down.
right? That would be really
Yeah.
fucking badass. That would really awesome.
All these little accolades of gaming things.
Yeah.
No degree,
No
but
degree.
he did play Call of Duty in 2011.
Whoa, how many prestiges?
Hey,
Whoa.
hey.
Yeah.
Did you hit
exactly.
top 45 in COD, bro?
Yeah,
Yo,
exactly.
whoa.
There's just exactly. It's not real life like accolades. It's just gaming accolades, just all on this resume of mine.
Yeah, like how many people have you teabagged over your lifetime, man?
Oh boy.
Whoa, 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 whoa,
boy.
whoa,
Dip,
whoa,
dip,
whoa, whoa,
potato,
whoa.
chip.
Huh? Huh? We don't condone this, huh?
Of course we do.
But-
Of course we do.
Yo, I've always had this question because like this is something for myself, kind of also. Growing up, I guess in a family that didn't know a lot about sports, right? Like it just so happened that my parents had two like pretty athletic sons
Yeah.
that could play like whatever
Yeah,
sport,
y'all do pick
right?
up just about anything and enjoy it.
Yeah.
pretty quickly.
But like we didn't really ever have like a good like don't get me wrong, like they were there and they came to the games to support it, right? And like if we needed like equipment or whatever, like it was there to a degree, right? But as far as like knowing how to navigate I guess the stress of like losing, winning, stay high, stay low, whatever.
Yeah.
Knowing how to stay calm in these moments, whatever. Like that's something personally I had to figure out more, and that's why I
Yeah.
usually am thankful for the coaches because like they were the ones who could kind of tell me.
Well, yeah, that's what it turns into. Is like, and that's what I mean is looking at them as mentors or something like that. Is a lot of the times people don't have parents that understand the sport. Like it's not like you're. I played baseball. It's not like my dad was a baseball player. In no different than you. You're playing football and all these other things, and you come home and there's no one to look at or talk to about football. Like there's no adult to like turn to and lean on and talk about what's bothering you, anything like that. And a lot of the times, even with coaches, people don't do that because that's the person that's you're either playing or not because of that person, you know. But I mean, that's what I mean. In the coaches is like sometimes the good coaches are the ones that aren't your friends, but you can actually talk to them. Like
Yeah.
you can be a human being. to
Someone
them.
in your corner, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you're not just a player and like no, you go to that pole and you're gonna run. You shut up. Like you can conversate with them.
Yeah.
I mean, for me growing up, my dad didn't really know a lot about sports, to be honest with you.
Okay.
It was more my mom on the side of she understood sports and understood like the mental side of it like really really well. She was always the one like kind of I guess telling me like how to act and how to be like mentally like after losing and stuff like that. You said, Mike, like she was always the one there for that kind of thing.
Gotcha.
Like you said, like present wise though, my dad was always there. My mom
Okay.
was always working and my dad was always at everything. So that's where my dad came in as like he literally called himself the quote unquote dugout mom because I don't know if like in baseball you know you always have the person that brings the oranges
Yeah, brings
and
the orange
juices
slices,
and,
the juice
and
boxes.
my dad knew. He was like, I don't know anything, I'm the dugout mom, I'm here. So that was like his running joke forever that like he would always be a coach but he had no clue what was going on.
Hey, you love that, but see, that's what I was saying. Like the emotional support is
Emotional
so
support.
Yeah,
big
Yeah.
when
exactly.
we're
And just
playing, right?
having, I mean, having both parents there to be able to like each of them brought a different thing for me, you know.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was always there to like pat me on the back and say I'm proud of you and everything's going to be fine. And then my mom was there to say like toughen up, you need to like do this, that's and that. Like that's how it is.
Yeah.
You know. So which is different for most people. That's
Good
it's
cop, bad
kind of
cop.
funny. Like
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
usually it's your dad giving you a stern talking and your
Sure.
mom's there to like rub your back after, but
Sure.
not
Hey,
me.
man.
I'll be real.
Hey,
That's
as
how
long
my
as it
parents were.
works.
Like that's like the same way
Yeah.
yours were. Like that's how my parents are.
That's
Right.
it's funny. It's always
Yeah.
funny too. Like growing up, you're just like, yeah, my dad's a softie and my mom's a hard ass.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, man, that's crazy. I don't like so this is for our first time speaking, so I don't really know exactly your personal family situation, but do you have kids or
I do.
you
So
do?
I'm married and I have a 16-month-old boy named
Oh,
Gally as well.
the
My
third,
camera's freaking out. Yeah, he's
the
Gally the
third.
third.
Oh my
Yeah,
God, Gally the third. Let's go.
G3.
All right,
I gotta
so
have four, or I gotta have three more so we
gotta
can call him G6.
G6.
He's gonna be fly like a G6.
Oh my God, G4,
Yeah,
G5, and G6. Well,
yeah, be like George Foreman.
what a line right there. Well, the only reason I'm asking is because knowing what you know now, and like I'm sure like there's like a lot of like personal experience that had gone through this, and you went through your own path to get there, right? Would you per se encourage your son when he grows up? Would you ever encourage your son to like go into pro sports, or like would you like push or encourage them to do baseball or anything like that, or
Yeah, I
COD,
mean,
maybe COD, a professional
literally
COD
whatever.
player?
Yeah, whatever. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be. I'm just gonna kind of sit back and enjoy the ride. I'm not gonna push him to
Orange
do. I
slices.
don't. I don't. Yeah, I don't need him to be a baseball player to make me
Mhm.
happy or anything like that.
Gotcha. Yeah, I just
So I
just
mean,
kind of
yeah,
like
we'll see. No, I already have a little. You can see the little mouse in my background. That's for him to come in and just go crazy with. And I have a
that's
keyboard set up
hilarious.
as well.
That's
So I mean,
awesome.
he does attract to the keyboard and all this kind of
There
stuff.
you
Obviously, because the
go.
light.
PC Master Race Gamer right
Yeah,
here,
you
man.
never know. I might have a little coder on my hands or
Oh,
something like
Okay,
that
okay.
too.
Dude, like, and see, we were mentioning about like how parents sometimes don't understand about something, right? But let's say for a pro gamer, if let's just say he
Yeah.
did try to go for that path, at least you know a little bit
Oh yeah,
about
for
like
sure.
combination of pro sports.
Well, I mean, it's also us. Like, if y'all have kids, it's not gonna be a thing. Sorry if y'all have kids already, but if y'all like have kids, then y'all are gonna be more comfortable with y'all's kids on the internet.
yeah.
Obviously, it's a scary place too, but like
Yeah.
our parents were very foreign to the internet too, and like
True.
for us, we've kind of grown up with it,
Yeah.
so
hmm
it's a more comfortable thing for us to look at our kid and enjoy a game than it was for our parents.
Absolutely.
Because I mean, our parents like I don't know if y'all know who Nade Shot is, but his
Oh
story
Yeah,
yeah.
is
shot, yeah.
insane, and
100
how
Thieves.
his mom passed away and had him working at McDonald's, and now, I mean, he can't
He's
show
making
her,
it.
but like, look at it now, and
Yeah.
like, I mean, I'm sure that
Yeah.
kid wishes more than anything he could just say, "Mom, look,"
Hey, look, check it out.
and it's yeah, it's crazy that she was so against him just sitting in his room and doing all that, and it's
hmm
that's something like I said, like us, like I wouldn't be thrilled to death if my son loved sitting down for 12 hours a day in a room, but I get it. I understand that it's a real thing. It's
Yeah.
a real path for some people. It's not just a degenerate hobby, you
Like it's
know.
legit, right? Like there's
Yeah.
something, there's substance behind this, right? Like
Yeah,
it's real,
exactly.
right? And then maybe the Galley Cribs the third will be our first student to come through our university, right? Like
Yeah. With his dad as his professor.
Yeah.
Professor
you know?
Coach Galley. That's
I
hilarious.
mean,
So there's like a lot of things that we also wanted to talk about, of course, being our psychology spot, themed podcast. We wanted to put forth several questions on like mental health aspects of like professional sports, traditional professional sports, maybe esports, right? What your like takes are on this, right? Like how do you cope with the stresses, within the game, outside the game, right? What are like some of the mental practices you might have per se?
So I actually enjoy meditation. Meditation is something I've picked up on probably the last like 4 years of my life, and that's one way. Obviously, working out is another way. Of
Hell
course,
yeah.
it's a very good way of getting the body going and moving and feeling good. You
Yeah.
know,
Using that energy.
Natural
yeah,
endorphins.
yeah, feeling good about yourself
Yes,
instead
sir.
of the bad talk, the negative talk that you talked about.
Mm.
Hmm.
Um, it's there's lots of different ways, and everyone yoga is another thing I really
Okay.
Oh yeah,
enjoy.
I'm doing that too.
All different kind. Like I enjoyed hot yoga. I enjoyed just like the regular, the flow classes that you're just kind of
Hmm.
chilling. Like all of it is very relaxing and it's all focused on your breath, a lot like meditation too. So if
Hmm.
you already
Gotcha.
have that as a foundation, yoga is another good thing that is possibly good to add to your routine. Routine is also a good thing.
Routine.
Um, it can also be a downfall for some people
Mm.
because if that routine gets thrown off at all, it's bad for
They
some
tilt.
people too. Yes, it gets a little tilt off. But yeah, I mean, there's one of the people that I've come across. His name is Zach Brandon.
Okay.
His Twitter is at MVP underscore mindset. He helped me a lot with the mental side of things and has a lot of good stuff on his Twitter feed and kind of does a lot of good stuff with that mental side. It's not all baseball oriented. It's kind of like life oriented um, as well. Um, some book. I mean, I like reading books. A book that I read that helped me out. It's a baseball book, but it's called Finding Stillness at 95 miles an hour. And a player
Okay.
named Sean Green wrote it,
Okay.
and it's a really good book, and it kind of like gives you a real picture on like his big league life and what it was like
Hmm.
on the outside, and or on the inside, sorry, and like
Yes.
literally to like the coaches he had and like what was going through, like what he was going on in life, like
Yeah.
everything that was happening throughout his career, and
Hmm.
it's a really good book too.
Isn't that funny,
And
right? Like, cause like we see people, right, and then they're like icebergs, right? Everybody's like an iceberg, right?
yep,
You only really see what's on the surface. You maybe don't know what's going on underneath, right?
yes,
So that's pretty interesting. I think actually we were in the pre-pod we were chatting about this. I think you were saying that there was somebody that you had looked up to in the league, right? And then there's something else going on with him, right?
yeah. So there's sorry, one more book, The Way of
Oh,
the
a book,
Peaceful
yeah.
Warrior as well.
Way of
The
the
Way
Peaceful
of the
Warrior.
Peaceful Warrior is also a very good book for that kind of like meditation type stuff
Nice.
and kind of like a good foundation helper outer.
We need to check those out.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, but so yeah, I mean, then there's people that you think have it all together
Right.
and would never do these kinds of things. And we talked about being your own worst enemy. And there's people out there that are hurting themselves at home after a bad day at work or whatever it may be.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And it's really hard. I mean, everyone is different, and being your own worst enemy isn't always a bad thing, but it can be very toxic to yourself
Right.
to think
Yeah.
negatively all the time.
Self-image thing, right?
Yeah, positive
Yeah.
thoughts are a good thing. No rap before noon, that's a good thing. Um,
No rap.
yeah, just like what you put in is what you're gonna get. Like with everything, your food,
Hmm.
your music, your entertainment, your TV, your Twitter feed, your Instagram feed,
Hmm.
all that stuff affects you, and it's a real thing. It's something, like I said, once again, is newer for our generations, but
Sure.
you've seen how social media has affected people, like
Yeah.
real people,
No. Yeah.
and people harming themselves over social media and things
Right.
like that, which is absurd. But it's a real thing, and people feel that. People have that. It's real life. So,
Yeah.
um, just not being hard on yourself is really important.
Hmm.
Like obviously looking in the mirror and taking a good long look is always a good thing,
Self
and
reflection.
just always just trying to be positive though, like just knowing like their life is a roller coaster. When things are going down,
Hmm.
like you can try your best to make them go up at any point, but putting your best foot forward is important, not looking at it in a bad light all the time.
Right. Right.
And like maybe it's a lesson, like um someone's giving you something for some reason, no
Hmm.
matter what it be. Like there's a reason it's happening. It could be to make you stronger in the long run. You never know.
True. I mean,
Agreed.
what you just said kind of made me think of like I've heard some story about other pro athletes, and they have the struggle of resisting their own negative thoughts, right? whether it's like you haven't won a championship yet, because that didn't make your legacy, right?
Yeah.
And if you did get a championship, it's like you haven't won another championship, right? Or it's like,
Or
did
you
you make
weren't
the
the
team?
MVP. You weren't the
yeah,
MVP in the
or
team.
whatever. And it's like, how do you resist that pitfall? You said like, you worked out, you do yoga. Is there anything else or anything you want to
I
expand
mean,
upon?
it's really cliche, but it's just trusting the process. Like you can't, like, if you dive too far into like what you're doing wrong, like you kind of just like, as long as you're putting in what you need to put in, then what else can you do? Like if you're doing your best and you know you're doing your best, then what, like, there's nothing else to do. There's not anyone to look at and ask for help. Like that's it. And I think sometimes people, like, they freak out when their best isn't good enough. But that's normal. It maybe whatever you're going for isn't for you, or maybe it is, and you just need to keep going and you can get better. But if you think that it's over with or done at any point, then it probably is. If you start thinking about plan B, then plan A is probably out the window. So like, it's just kind of just keeping yourself mentally in check, and just always, as long as you know you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, then I don't think you should have a problem with yourself.
Gotcha. That's
I
words to live by.
like that a lot,
Yeah.
because I was like, I think in our last episode or like 2 episodes ago, we were talking about how like, as long as you create like a good environment and you're putting in the work, right, and you're learning, right, about like the situation, no matter what, you're going to start getting wins. In my head, that's how I think, because if you're doing your due diligence per se, right, you're learning how to adapt better. You're learning how to win, but you're also learning how you lost,
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
And
exactly. I mean, a loss isn't a loss. Like, you can make a loss a win. You can learn
Yeah.
from your loss.
Yeah.
So that's another thing, is like, even when you do bad or you lose, why did you lose? Why did you do bad? Are you just
Yeah.
gonna pout about it, or are you gonna try to figure out why it happened too after it happened? Like, that's another big thing in it, is like just understanding, like an understanding of why it's happening.
Right.
This is happening probably because of that. And I mean, looking at it that way, it helps. I mean, don't look at it as someone else, like it's their fault. I mean, but it helps to just reflect in a way that your failures are lessons, not just absolute pitfall failures.
Right. I think we kind of like concluded it to be basically, right, like mindset, which is the basis for your process, which in turn leads to the results, right? Like, so that it's kind of like it just builds its way upward. As long as you trust it, right? Like, we're just, like saying cliche, but I follow that too, right? Like, trust the process. Like, it makes sense.
make sure you set up a good process.
Right. As long as the process is like you're learning from that process too, right? Like, you can change that process,
Yeah.
but
Trust the winning process.
yeah, not the losing process.
There's kind of a side question I've always wondered, because like I'm more familiar with like injuries in sport and like traditional sports, right?
Yep.
But like for gamers or whatever, like because I keep up with League of Legends and some other things. Some people like, because their wrist, right? It's like your mouse movement, etc. Like, carpal tunnel, right?
tunnel.
It's like, what is prevention for that? And or is there like just like injury rehab experiences that you have that could kind of like parallel to esports injuries?
Yeah. I mean, for certain, breathing is a very big like key. Your breathing does a lot with your body, like whether you're or not you're even like breathing correctly. Like, a lot of people don't understand that.
Okay.
Like, and that's one thing, like with the yoga and meditation, like you kind of learn yourself, like taking those big deep breaths and holding it, and like you're getting like everything in and getting everything out, like constantly. I mean, a lot of people don't, like, they get stressed out and they stop breathing. Like, you're talking about esports, like in those moments of a gunfight or anything like that, like adrenaline kicks in, all these things start happening to your body, and then I mean, some people aren't even breathing during these fights.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
you
know, they're
just lose
holding
track.
their breath,
Yeah.
and then they're like,
Dude,
after a fight, and it's like, you didn't breathe that whole time, bro. And that that is like a huge injury prevention, Mike. The Diamondbacks actually use something called PRI, and I couldn't really tell you what it stands for. But when I hurt my oblique, I was laying on the ground with my arm straight up and a balloon in my mouth, and I had to
What?
blow up the balloon, and
Oh.
dude, I'm sitting there laying on the ground, breathing, sweating, and it's crazy. And there's stuff like that, obviously. The Tommy John is the huge one in baseball. That
Oh, yeah.
ulnar collateral
Ulnar,
ligament right
yeah.
there.
Mhm.
And yeah, there's obviously preventative things for ligaments and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Like you're asking about carpal tunnel. There's probably
Cubital
some type
tunnel.
of like wrist thing or like
Wrist strengthening,
activator,
yeah,
like something
stretching, yeah.
that will do all of that kind of stuff for this type of thing, this type of world. See, the thing about the esports world is you got to look at it on the business side. There's been people for a long time using a mouse and keyboard. So
Sure.
there's definitely stuff out there to prevent and or strengthen, help you get ready for that kind of stuff in the world already. I guarantee it.
With their ergonomics and things like that, right?
Yeah,
Like ergonomic
yeah, oh
keyboards,
yeah.
ergonomic
Because I know
chairs.
there's we had something
Okay.
with the baseball that it was like a ball, and then you put your fingers in, and it had rubber bands on the outside, and you
Oh, yeah,
just
yeah.
go like that. So like,
Okay.
there's all kinds of little gadgets and
Yeah.
I mean, think about you, Mike. You've torn your ACL. If you
Oh,
tore
yeah.
your ACL today, it would be a lot different than how it went
Oh, yeah.
when you had all your
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
done. And
Like,
your rehab would be
15 years,
exponentially different. Like your rehab would
That'd
be
be better.
completely different, bro.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you would probably be back running around in 9 months, if that.
Dude, yeah,
Modern
I
medicine.
remember back then, like Adrian Peterson came back in like 6
Yeah.
months and looked like a fucking
Okay,
or,
well,
sorry,
so
but a monster.
if y'all would like me to touch on that, we can touch on that because professional athletes are everyone's bodies, not everyone's. There are people that are blessed with very
Yes.
like genetically built
Yes.
bodies, whatever it may be.
Yes.
The thing you have to realize when a player gets hurt
Mm-hmm.
is that you're getting treatment every day when you're hurt. A
Yes.
normal citizen does not do that. A
Yep.
normal
Yeah.
citizen that tears their ACL, you're going to your PT probably once a week, if not once every 2 weeks, if not once a month. Because
Once a
financially,
month?
it doesn't
Yeah.
make sense. Like,
Yeah.
it's like some people can't.
Yeah.
And with an athlete,
Exactly.
I mean, I hurt my oblique and I'm getting ultrasound on my oblique and all this different kind of like treatment.
Mm-hmm.
And you come back quicker because you're getting treated every day.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's not that we're crazy people or like
just
we're
you're going through
injecting
the
ourselves
rehab.
and like people are like it's not steroids or anything crazy. It's treatment every day.
Yeah.
Like we have to be you get hurt, you have to be the first one at the field every
Yep.
day, and you have to get your treatment so you don't mess with anyone that has to play that night. And so you're there and you're sitting there for longer than anyone else that's there, and you're constantly just sitting with hot packs, cold packs, this, that, the other. Someone's touching you, someone's rubbing and it's constant because your job is to be on the field. You need to get back on the field.
Yeah, right. And so it's like it's a very directed treatment plan,
Yeah.
right? Because like
Oh,
a lot
yeah.
of the time it's a little bit more just because regular civilians, right? Like it's kind of like it doesn't necessarily
Yeah,
matter.
you have a
like,
you have a 9 to 5.
Yeah,
like, you don't need
you're gonna be
you
fine.
don't- yeah, you can ride your scooter into work and chill out, and then go to your physical therapy
Yeah,
when you need
maybe
to go.
once
But
or twice
It's
a
not.
week, right?
It's
Yeah.
not like you're waking up at 7 a.m. to get your physical therapy before you go to work
Yeah,
every day.
Exactly. Yep.
If
yep.
you did that, you would be fine in a couple months, like the athletes are. But no one does that, man.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
of course, the athletes, they already know the work ethic
Yeah,
required to like
you-
physically.
you already have a
recover, but
foundation,
you already-
yeah.
So they'll be better off, but like it's not just because of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they've got like the directed medical care, everything like that. That's really interesting.
Yeah,
actually.
and what I'm saying
The
too
support,
is there's no
right?
secret freaking ointment they rub on us or anything like that.
Not like in soccer
Hey,
when they fall
we
on the
don't, we
floor.
don't have the water boy
Yeah,
secret
yeah.
pouch of water.
Hey, who knows though? We
secret
got a future interview with a PT. He might be able to tell us. Maybe there is a secret sauce that maybe you don't even know.
Yeah,
So,
I mean,
we'll have
there's a lot
a-
of secret sauces that I don't know about.
Yeah, so make sure everybody to tune in as whenever that comes around. We're gonna have one of my personal friends, really good friends that I grew up with. He's a PT now, and we're gonna have him come through, and then we can talk a lot about like physical injuries and like rehab and stuff like that, and especially maybe
that'd be
like
great.
where it might pertain to like esports, right? Say like yeah, maybe we are like, like if we're gaming and stuff, like sitting in front of a computer for too long.
Oh,
or
maybe
we're,
your
like,
neck, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
neck, repetitive
Oh yeah,
stress.
look how
you're like
he's
this.
probably gonna be like, "What is that guy doing?"
Yeah, like nerve impingements, right? And like, oh my gosh, I just like thought of like a posture check right now. Everybody sit up a little bit straighter,
Yeah,
right?
I was just like, wait,
Oh,
let me sit back real
A
quick.
little bit embarrassed,
Hey,
like leaning forward.
that just means if we were leaning forward, that means the conversation was that interesting.
It's
that,
true,
you know,
it's
we
true.
all started to like come in,
Getting closer and closer.
Yeah. Hey.
We're inside of our monitors. One day we'll be in VR. No worries. We'll have good posture in VR, right? All right. So, I don't know. Is there very much else that we need to hit right here, Mike?
I think we're almost done, but just to ask,
Yeah.
what does life after baseball look like for you, Gally?
Oh man, I could not tell you like one bit. When that day comes, I don't know.
I know what it is. I know what it is. You're gonna be our professor coach, right? Like our
Yeah,
professor coach.
I mean,
of the-
yeah. If y'all have something lined up for me right when it's done, that would be awesome.
Yeah, we're
I'll just
Yo.
call y'all.
right into
Look
it.
forward to it.
Yeah. Maybe y'all just answer this question for me. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I have a lot of knowledge with baseball,
Sure.
so doing something with baseball and
Yeah.
giving back and like
Yeah.
helping out and like maybe being someone that like I didn't have or someone like just being there for other people. Like I already
Yeah.
come home in the off season and do coaching.
That's amazing.
Back at home I did.
Yeah.
At least. This off season I did not, being in San Antonio now.
Mm-hmm.
But
Okay.
yeah, I mean it's always good to give back and like I mean there's been so many different people and things in my life that have helped me out, mentors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That like it just kind of feels right to possibly give
Yeah.
back. I don't know, but that's just a bridge I would
Yeah,
cross when
yeah.
I got here. But there could be all kinds of different anything.
I feel like that is a very common sentiment, right, for a lot of like professional athletes or former professional athletes. Like
Yeah.
when they
Like
get ready to
Hakeem
move on.
Olajuwon.
Yeah, for sure. Like anybody that is out there, they either become like casters or like they go on back to school to teach younger generation or whatever, right? Just become coaches or becoming analysts or something, right? I don't know. Like maybe that
Yeah.
might be something cool. I don't know, but if you want to jump over to the esports side, right? Like we would love to see what you have to contribute because we're always interested in hearing about that. And today was like a really 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 good introduction and conversation with you.
Yeah, it was fun.
I was like very honored. We're very honored to have you on, man.
Yeah, thank y'all for having me.
Yeah, of
it's,
course,
it's
dude.
my honor for real to come on and support y'all's podcast now.
Yeah,
and
we're just getting off the ground, right? But like
Yeah.
you being here is like really really important to us. So
this is cool.
thank you so much.
I wish y'all nothing but the best. I
Yeah.
hope this thing blows up and people come back and watch this episode
It
and
would
just
be nice.
laugh at how little it was.
Hey man, watch. We're gonna have you on in the future,
Yeah, of
and
course.
like it's gonna be even bigger. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe
Like,
we'll have suits and ties and like we're all in the same room. That would be crazy.
I'm out.
Yo.
I am automatically
Okay.
out. All right.
No. We could do the suits and ties,
We
but
could
you
do
know,
the suits- okay.
if I had to be honest, like if all three of us were together, I'm down for like that vibe. Like right now, you know what I'm talking about. We're chilling. You know, have good
I got
talks.
sweatpants on. It's cold.
Exactly, bro.
I had
Oh
icicles
man.
outside this morning.
Yeah, it's a lot of
Sheesh.
ice. It's cold. It's cold. All right, man. So, are there any particular shout outs you'd like to do? Actually, if you don't have any of your own, maybe shout out that Twitter once again, just for the repeat, and maybe those two books or
Yeah,
three books that you were.
so- I mean, all my stuff
Yeah.
is just at Gally Cribs Jr. If y'all
Yes,
want
sir.
to follow, look into me.
Gally Cribs Jr..
At MVP_mindset is the other Twitter I kind of
MVP Mindset?
mentioned.
All right.
And then those two books, Finding Stillness at 95 miles an hour by Sean Green, and then The Way of the Peaceful Warrior by Dan Millman. Those two
Excellent.
books are just two books that I really really enjoyed. And don't know the reason. Not much of a reader, but those two books really stuck out and
No, for
stuck with.
sure. Yeah.
Hey, but that's why it's
Those are the only two I've ever read.
This guy.
Well, at least
Gally.
you can read. Mike can't read. We know Mike can't read.
Oh, come on, man. Okay, I'm working on it. I'm in a research lab, so I gotta read now.
What letter are you on? Have you gotten to G yet? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You on there?
I think I'm at C right now.
Oh,
I'm
shoot.
getting
All
there.
right. Well, spoiler alert for the future. Then just like
Yes,
your next
yes,
upcoming
yes.
lessons, right? So
But all right, thanks again, Gally. You were
Yeah,
awesome. You
You're the
had
best.
so many good insights into everything. We got to
Fun.
get a nice perspective from inside the league, making
Yeah.
it, etc., and also like your insights into how esports could grow, or like how esports is as of now too. And our viewers would probably appreciate it, and we thank you again.
All right.
No problem, man.
Thanks a lot to Gally Cribs Jr. We call him GCJ, on the field making that triple play. Go to the game and check him out someday, right? All right, boys and girls. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow. We're trying to get those counts up, right? So make sure you're out there supporting us. If you have any comments, anything you want to say, anything you want to bring up, anything we can improve on, let us know. We'll try to respond to you as soon as possible. Anyways, shout out. Make sure to catch us the next time we're on, and I think that'll be in about a week. We have a lot of stuff lined up, really good content coming out, including, like we said, the PT that's going to come on. We have ourselves a
Poker player,
high-level immortal player from Valorant, just our game. So we wanted to like bring some more perspectives into this, right? So, all right, guys, we'll catch you guys the next time. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, appreciate it, Gally. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. See y'all.
Bye bye.